welcome to the Board of Advisors podcast. We are here at Q1 Board of Advisors Summit at the Ritz-Carlton in Dallas, Texas. I'm your host, Leo Climaco from the Out of the System podcast. We are here today with Hunter Lott. How are you, Hunter?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me.
Tell me, Hunter, what brought you to BA?
So we were actually invited the last summit last year, Q4, by Rhonda Kilsch. And funny enough, she gave us absolutely no information about what it was. Encouraged us to come because she knew we were in the area. And she wasn't actually even here. So we came thinking that it was going to be a fellow group of RIAs or investment advisors.
Got it.
And one of the first people we ran into was Mike, and very bombastically tried to get us to understand what our 10-year big, hairy, audacious goal was on our first meeting. So, yeah.
That's awesome. What have you experienced, taken away from being part of BA?
Well, we were encouraged that it wasn't just a group of fellow investment advisors. We thought we'd probably learn from each other if that's what it was, and that's why we came. But the biggest, I think, value add for us is just the diversity of people from all around the world with all kinds of background and experience.
I agree. It feels like a big melting pot of people that are vibrating at the same frequency, wanting to grow and evolve together.
Yeah. And just the general spirit of benevolence.
Yes.
Of genuinely wanting everybody to succeed.
Yes. Tell me about you. Who's Hunter?
Yeah, so I grew up here in Texas. I grew up in East Texas. I came from a broken family and was an only child. Had a lot of adventures in life, hitchhiking, mountain climbing, motorcycles, four-wheelers.
That's awesome.
Backpacking. And then I met my wife, Lindsay. And by the grace of God, God used Lindsay to really grow me up and go from a ramen eating bachelor living in a room full of 5 other guys and one toilet into wanting to learn what it looked like to become a man and take care and grow a family and provide for them. And just so happened at the time, one of my mentors that I looked up to, who was also a climber, was a firefighter. And he encouraged me. He had actually encouraged me a few years prior, said, Hunter, you love being a firefighter. It's right up your alley. And I just didn't listen to him. I was more interested in rock climbing and traveling all over the world. But then when I met Lindsay and realized, I do want to grow up. I do want to get a job. Circled back to that mentor and talked to him about, okay, what do I need to do? And I just dove 110% into that. I decided that's what I was going to do. I was going to become a firefighter, paramedic. At that point, I knew that I wanted to marry Lindsay. And all my life, I'd been a horrible college student, like the picture of what a bad college student looks like. And then the following semester after I make that decision, I took 37 hours of college credits at 3 different institutions, slept on average of 45 minutes per day with like a 15-minute nap 3 times a day, and caught up a little bit on sleep on the weekends.
That was the Einstein way to do it.
Yes. Yeah, the Uberman sleep cycle.
Very cool.
And then made only 1 B. That was my best grades of my college career. And got a job, proposed, and started building a family.
What was it about Lindsay that made you go a full 180? What do you think gave you that spark? Well,
the first spark was I'd never met her before. I ran in a very small group of people at the climbing gym I worked at. And the climbing gym or my church was like the only 2 places I would meet somebody. And God knew exactly the right timing when I was going to be working. And she was working on this overhanging route that I had set. And it was giving her some trouble, but I could tell she wasn't a climber. I'd never met her before. And I knew almost everyone in the climbing community, but she wasn't giving up, and she had like natural athleticism. And that's what first caught my eye. So I gave, I tried to interject myself and give her belay test to get her certified to come back and continue climbing at the gym. Tried to teach her what it looked like to belay. And so I was climbing for her, and part of the test is you're supposed to fall and they're supposed to catch you. And so I'm up close to the top of this route, and without announcement, fall, and she's supposed to catch me. She's smaller than I am. I'm not that big of a guy, but she's smaller than I am. My weight lifted her up, which is normal, but the way she had her hand on the belay device actually opened up the brake instead of closing it. So I went all the way down to the floor. But by the grace of God, like, my instant thought was, I can't screw this up. I'm going to scare her away if I look like I'm in pain. So immediately got up, like, brushed it off, said, "This happens all the time. I'm fine. Let's
Were you hurt?
Let's do this again." It definitely knocked the wind out of me.
Yeah.
It did hurt, but I didn't let her know about it. So thankfully that didn't scare her away. We did another belay test, and I got the courage to climb with her again and let her belay me again. Yeah.
Give me a lesson that you've learned from rock climbing.
Rock climbing and firefighting is a lot about managing risk. And that's what my partner and I, Colby, do with Simplify Alpha. We manage risk for our investment clients. But it is also for our clients, we explain that the only way to get an out of ordinary return, similar with life, an out of ordinary return in life, is to take risk. So whether it's life and the life you want to build, or your investments, you're not going to get a greater than average return if you're not willing to take risk.
I agree.
Now, as you build just your own muscle of being able to assess risk and assess what kind of allocation you want to make to risk, that's the job of us as the investment advisors, and that's the job of the client as well, to assess what type of investments they want to go into. But from rock climbing, that was one of the things I learned in assessing the risk of the route, making a plan, executing that plan, learning how to adjust when plans need to change because of weather or the route isn't exactly like how you thought it was going to be based on the plan you read. Yeah.
Are you still a firefighter?
I am. I'm currently still a full-time firefighter and an investment advisor. Our goal is to transition. We want to raise anywhere between 10 to 35 million. 35 million is about our goal, to transition our largest clients over into a fund structure. And that would allow us, it would free up a lot of our time, but also allow us the freedom to step away from an amazing job that I still love, and I'll always love that. And my partner and I are both firefighters, and so that's our plan, is to step away so we can fully devote our time and our intention and steward well the assets that our clients have blessed us with and trusted us with.
It's incredible. Talk to me about, how can BA help you? What are you looking for from BA? Yeah,
and BA has already done this in a lot of sense, but expertise, just bouncing ideas off of people. And also, there's also a lot of asset allocators here. So one of our largest clients is a business operator themselves, and they approached us more from a standpoint of producing an uncorrelated passive stream and an additional passive stream of income from our strategy that we run. And so they had idle cash sitting just in a savings account, looked through our strategy, felt comfortable with it, talked to their CFO, and made an allocation to our strategy, and they've been thrilled with it. But the breadth of knowledge, experience, and network that BA has helped us a lot in just understanding how to communicate our goals, how to communicate our strategy to people, what kind of hesitations people might have, and the connection with other people as well.
What drives you?
What drives me? I, in general, want to live a life of adventure worth reading about. Not from a prideful standpoint. I just think it's a lot less boring than taking zero risk. I want to encourage that for our 4 children.
Children?
Yes. Yeah. We have 4 kids. Lindsay's amazing. We have 4 kids. I want to encourage that in their life and as well. Just the general concept of living a life of adventure that is worth reading about. It comes with blood, sweat, and tears a lot, but that's what makes life meaningful.
I agree 100%. Well said. Where do you see your company in the next 5 years?
In the next 5 years, $100 million in assets under management. And so we would love to continue to service clients through our RIA. Mm-hmm. We would just love the primary source of our income to be from the fund, from high net worth individuals, asset allocators, businesses that are allocating a small percentage to an outsized potential return. And then that will allow Colby and I to service clients that, single moms, firefighters, church planters, missionaries, that we don't want to make money from those people.
Right.
But in reality, we need to have a job, and it's hard to do both. It's hard to do all jobs.
Right.
And so have our primary source of income be from the fund, and then just still have a ministry of stewardship, of financial stewardship through our RIA.
It reminds me of what Elon did with Tesla. He first made the Model S to get that into production. Then he made the Model 3 for everybody else.
Yeah, absolutely.
Very, very cool. I got to tell you, I feel your passion. I feel your energy. And you give off confidence and you give off trust. The way you speak, the way you carry yourself is very admirable. I feel like just by looking at you, I feel like you're trustworthy. And I feel like I would give you my money.
Well, I appreciate it.
from the way you speak, from the way you carry yourself, you ooze the confidence. Where does that come from?
Having a bias for action. So you only gain confidence through doing things and failing. So early on, I was all by myself most of my childhood. So I would go talk to strangers just because I was bored. My mom didn't know that I was doing this, but having a bias for action and not looking at failure as necessarily a bad thing. Mm. Failure is one of the best teachers you can have.
Yes.
And there's no amount of money that can give you the same learning experience as failing forward. You can't fail and give up. You have to fail and continue to push forward. Reassess, see what happened. So you can't just fail. Some people do just fail around
right.
Randomly. That's not my goal. I want to intentionally fail forward. But that is really the only thing I believe that builds confidence is having a bias for action, taking action, learning that the majority of the time you're going to have maybe a 60, 80% solution, which leaves room for error for failure. Mm. But that cycle of continuing, have you ever heard of the OODA loop?
No.
John Boyd, it's a military mindset for pilots. But it's in general, the concept is that bias for action. Take more action than the person next to you, and in general, you will win. If you're taking repeated action, I actually forget what it stands for. It's you're orienting yourself around the environment. You're deciding what to do. You're coming up with a plan and you're taking action. That's out of the sequence of the acronym, but that's in general the concept is if you take action on a more consistent basis than whoever your peer is, then you will likely win them out in the long run. So that's where the confidence comes from. I state things in a confident manner, but I also try to carry myself in a humble way. I want to have my opinion changed. I want to learn from the person across from me. I state things in a confident manner. Just that's how I've learned to operate in general. It's in general produces a better outcome than being wishy-washy.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Tell me something you want your kids to remember about you.
I hope they remember this. This is the tough part about what we're trying to do. We're trying to do two things at the same time, and it takes a lot of time.
Yeah.
I hope they remember that Dad spent a lot of time with us. And Dad took us to church. Dad told us about his faith, shared his faith, talked to us about Jesus, and took us on a lot of adventures, got us out of our comfort zone. But that's the biggest concern, like Colby and I have, is dedicating this amount of time to both our full-time career that we do owe our time, energy, and effort towards, and being investment advisors, stewarding other clients' assets. That's why we're trying to transition to the fund model, so we can just do one of those well and steward the role we have with young kids still in our home, still want to spend time with us. That's a priority for us. So Dad spent a lot of time with us. Dad got us out of our comfort zone. And looking back, we're thankful he got us out of our comfort zone. And Dad taught us about Jesus. So
I love that. Talk to me about Colby. How is that partnership? How's that relationship? Where'd you guys meet?
So Colby and I met at a church, but the interesting part, we knew some of the same people. I worked with some people that he grew up with and went to college with at a place called REI. We sold outdoor equipment and climbing gear. And I spent everything that I made there. I made very little money while I was working there. But they, knowing me and knowing my sense of adventure and I guess just my character, they had been telling me about Colby, like, you got to meet this guy. But he was in a different stage of life. I think we didn't live in the same city at the time, and I had never met him. And then strangely, we were both at a similar meeting at our church, and he and his wife were there. And for whatever reason, I got the sense, I wonder if that's Colby Ivy that I've heard about. I don't know where that sense came from. I went and tapped him on the should. I said, "Hey, you don't happen to be Colby Ivy, do you?" And he's like, "Yeah." And so that's where it started. And he's my best friend, and we talk to each other almost every day. We're very similar in a lot of ways, but in a good way, we think and approach problems and risk differently. And that's why he's been an amazing asset.
The yin to your yang.
Yeah, for me, with how we approach our investments, how we approach our clients, how we approach our business. So he's also a firefighter. He also has a family, also was a climber. So a lot of cohesiveness, a lot of similarities. But that slight difference in how we approach problems and problem solving is hugely beneficial to me and a huge blessing to me. So
it's incredible. What's the minimum to get into your fund?
Our minimum is $100,000. We have two different classes of shares. Our Class A shares is a $5 million minimum contribution, and that fee structure is a 1% AUM fee and a 10% performance fee. And for our Class B shares, which is a minimum of $100,000, it's a 2 and 20 fee structure. Our marketed return is a 20% annualized return.
Wow.
Historically, we've performed around a 30% return.
Wow.
But we'd prefer to under-promise and over-deliver.
Yeah, be conservative. Yeah.
And in that fund structure, we want to give our clients the optionality for a 1% per month distribution. Most of our clients right now in the RIA, when we bring that up, they just want to allow their assets to continue to grow and compound. But that's the framework that we want them to understand, that this is liquid. We both had experience in the real estate world. Real estate offers a lot of great returns, but it's not nearly as liquid. You can't sell portions of an apartment complex or portions of an office building if you need the money. Our strategy, I think, that partners well with that is slightly different, has maybe a similar return profile, but we are 100% liquid. Now we have a 1-year lock-in period that we have in our contract, but in reality, if our clients need the money, we just explain, give us time to execute your trades in a opportunistic way. But if you need it, it's your money at any time. The way we run our strategy, somebody pulling their money out isn't going to negatively affect the rest of the LPs.
Got it. I'm not very familiar with investing, so you're giving me a crash course here, and I appreciate that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, that was very good. Hunter?
I'm not very knowledgeable about podcasts.
And you're doing a great job. I got to tell you, you have an incredible mustache.
Well, thank you.
It is just incredible. My father had a similar mustache for about 30 years. And I was about 10 years old, and he shaved it off. And it was a completely different person. And your mustache reminds me a lot of my dad's mustache. So it's very cool.
Yeah. What was there a shock when you saw him the first time?
Oh, it was a total shock. I mean, my entire life, 10 years of him with that mustache, and then he shaved it off. It was like, who are you? Where's my dad? Yeah. Yeah, very cool. You brought back some memories, so it's cool. Hunter, where can people find you? What's your website, social media, whatever you want to share?
Yeah, so our website is simply-phi-alpha.com. Simplify Alpha is the name of our business. And my email address is hunter.lott@simplifyalpha.com.
Incredible. Thank you for your time. Thank you for sharing. And I wish you nothing but the best.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you, Hunter.
This has been a pleasure.
Thank you, Hunter. We hope you enjoyed today's episode of the Board of Advisors podcast. Please like, subscribe, comment, and always know that when you're in the room, anything's possible.